Hey everyone, it's your girl Jenny and we are going to be starting a new vlog today. I think this is actually going to take place over multiple days just because there's not a lot going on right now. It is a little dark, but that's because I finally invested in one of these windshield things for my car. Where I have to park for work is an open lot, so the sun really beats down on it really hard. And I have to say, it definitely was worth getting, so woo! I'm on lunch right now and I am eating a Caesar salad, which is delicious. I feel like you can never go wrong with a salad. And then I needed a pick-me-up because I was low-key kind of struggling throughout the day, so oh my gosh, so freaking good. And then today I will be continuing my read of Tastes Like Candy 2, Sugarless by Tholen. In my last reading update, I told you guys that there was like a giant plot twist in the book, and I did not see it coming. Maybe other people saw it coming, but I genuinely didn't see that that was where we were going. And I love when a book does that. Like, yes, please shock me. And I'm definitely invested in the story. Now, I do have to say that there was a scene that I just recently read last night that kind of had me looking at it a little bit differently. Like, I wish I knew what direction we were heading in, but it's a journey. A quick reading update. There is a side story between the characters Violet and Nico, and at first I thought it was very interesting. I really liked it. Now that we're a couple more chapters into part 2, I just don't really care for it. I don't find it annoying, but I just don't particularly like this side plot. I just think it's just a tiny bit annoying, I guess. So I guess we'll see how that unravels, because right now I'm just not intrigued, but the other stuff, definitely interested. I'm home now and today was an in-office day, so my body desperately needs to get moving. So I'm gonna jump on the treadmill just because it is still so crazy hot out to be walking outside. I ended up being on the treadmill a little bit longer than I intended, which is fine. That's a good thing. That's what we want. So now I'm at 7,700 steps for the day. So fun, so exciting. I have a little bit of downtime to, of course, read. So I'm going to pick this back up just because I didn't really get to read too much during my lunch. I am going to set a timer just in case. Let's do a 20-minute timer. I stand by what I said earlier about Violet and Nico's relationship. I don't really have that much interest in it, and honestly it's kind of dragging just because of it, but it just doesn't feel like there's a connection or a friendship brewing. And on top of that, there's like an underlying sexual tension that just isn't working for me because I don't see any chemistry between these two characters, and honestly it's causing the book to drag. And I don't know if it's just because I just don't care about their friendship relationship stuff or what. Like, I just want to get back to the main part of the story. I just figured I would tell you that I feel like it's a little bit scrambled, but I'm just having a hard time getting through it because I am reading another one of their encounters or conversations. Granted, this is a conversation that should have been had a long time ago, but it just feels like every time they have any kind of conversation, it leads to an argument or someone getting mad. And they are both very sensitive to each other, and they also kind of like hurt each other as well with what they say. Like, they know exactly what to say to each other to piss the other one off, and I feel like they do that a little too much for it to be like, yeah, there's just sexual tension between them. It's just not working for me, and it's really taking away from the story because I was really invested in like the first part, and even part 2 has been somewhat interesting, but every time we come back to these two characters, I get so frustrated. I feel bad because I really hope it gets better, like their relationship, or just be done and we can move on, because I would love to move on. Please and thank you. but I will get back to reading because I think my husband's only like 10 minutes away from home. He went grocery shopping, so I didn't have to, and he told me to take tonight easy, but honestly I kind of want to help with the cooking part and then just kind of helping around the house. Plus I honestly thought I would be sleepy and I'm not, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. Ricky is home and he convinced me to sit down and read a little bit more while he makes our dinner. We are going to have a lazy dinner today, and he's going to grill up some sandwiches, which honestly sounds really good because I was low-key craving like Jimmy John's. So that at least will satisfy my cravings. We're both a little tired, so we just kind of want like a lazy dinner. So with that being said, I am going to try to get back into the story. I just finished chapter 36, and I have to say there were some interesting kills in this that make me intrigued once again. I love the slasher part of this story. Now I do enjoy part of the plot, but again it was just that relationship friendship that just kind of derailed me. But we are back, and this scene was brutal and a little heartbreaking, but a very good scene. I am showered, skincare is on, hair is in braids, and I'm going to take my book and read downstairs for the rest of the night. Had to jump on really quickly. I just finished this one and I have to say I am very disappointed. I'll probably sit on it and then get back to you guys tomorrow with my final thoughts on it. Good morning, it's the next day, and I finished Tastes Like Candy 2 last night, and I have to say I am very disappointed. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more later, but that's just probably how I feel, just disappointed, let down, but whatever. We are just gonna keep it moving, and hopefully the last book didn't send me into a reading slump because I'm starting to feel that way, but let's hope this brings me out of it. I just got to work and I have a few minutes before I have to head in, so I figured I'd kind of share with you my thoughts on Tastes Like Candy 2. I finished it last night and honestly I am just so disappointed. Part 1 was very interesting. We followed Dusty and you know, we get to learn a lot about her, and things felt like book 1 in the sense where it's a slasher, there's like drama, and I really enjoyed that. Then we get to part 2 and essentially we continue to follow characters from part 1, but in part 2 we are introduced to characters from book 1, and that's where I feel like it began to derail. Now, was it interesting having Violet back in this story? Yes. However, there's a lot of trauma that she did not work through, which is, I don't want to say it's fine, but you know, it takes everyone a different amount of time to work through it. And I believe this was like a 5-year time jump. She really should not have even tried to be in a friendship relationship with Nico. It was very like blurred lines. Both of them didn't want to admit that they were in a relationship. Created a lot of tension between the two, and I just did not really care for it. And part 2 just felt like it was very random at times, and it wasn't as cohesive as part 1. Things got a little muddied and confusing, and I think just the writing in part 2 just felt a little disheveled, which kept losing me. And I had to reread things just because I didn't know if I truly misunderstood something or if it was just that muddied, and it was just that muddied. And it sucks because I really loved book 1. Honestly, it was in like my honorable mentions of last year's reads. So like I said, I was going into this with high expectations, but not even half of them were met. The slasher vibes, definitely amazing. I love the kills, very creative, very fun, but everything else definitely needs to be worked on. So I feel like for me, this is like a generous 2 out of 5 stars. It seems like they set it up to have book 3, and I really don't know if I'd be interested in it because I don't know if this is going to lean more into the paranormal or what. And I think that's another part that is just so confusing. Like, a big part of the story was just left open to interpretation. At least it feels that way. Or maybe I just missed something. I don't know. So I don't like when a book leaves me feeling confused, but not in a good way. Like, sometimes I like when books make you think, and this one just makes me think, like, why did I read this? So again, 2 out of 5. Just some rants and rambles about the book, but I am very excited for my next read. I feel like I should have just gone with this one in the first place, but you know what? We'll be fine, and I'll start this today during my lunch. And my oh my, it is so freaking hot. We have like a heat advisory. Just like yesterday, we are gonna have a salad. Ooh, we have different kind of cheese today. Okay, so before I start my book, I'm actually going to finish editing a book review. This one is for After the Pink Moon by E. Reyes, which I really enjoyed. It's a cult story that I recommend you check out, but the full review is going to be over on TikTok. I do also upload it as shorts here on YouTube, but mainly these go up on TikTok first. And now I have time to start Acts of Desperation, and I'm really hoping that this delivers, because the last book, we're not gonna talk about it no more. Right off the bat, it seems like I'm going to enjoy the writing in this a lot more. So that's a positive. Oh my god! Kieran was not the first beautiful man I slept with, or the first man I had obsessive feelings for, but he was the first man I worshipped. His body would become a site of prayer for me, a place where I could forget about my own living flesh and be only with his. It was a thing of total pleasure, total beauty. This is such an awkward angle, but I don't have a tripod, so you're just resting on top of like a random item. I ran some errands after work and I was so freaking hungry, so I stopped by and got myself some mashed potatoes and gravy, and I'm home now. Today was very draining. And honestly, a lot of it has to do with how hot and humid it is. So the possibility of me falling into bed and taking a nap, very high. During my lunch, I was able to read 27 pages of Acts of Desperation. And I have to say that I love how short and fast the chapters are. This is not interesting at all, but I did get my package, so I figured we could open it together. We have a new keyboard and mouse. I didn't really care to look for anything super fancy this time, just because every time I get something really cute and fancy, it stops working. This is what it looks like, and it has this little slot to put like your iPad or phone or whatever on there, and then the mouse is literally nice and simple. I came prepared because it doesn't come with batteries. Ooh. Okay, so that's an old keyboard, doesn't work anymore, so now we have this one. Wow! I always love a keyboard with a number pad, and then not too loud, which is nice, whereas this one is nice. That's my non-interesting update. I do like the way the keyboard sounds. Per my last email. Let's get some sleep. I almost forgot that I have to post a video. Whoa, what the hell? Let's do this together. Let's go. So I changed into comfy clothes and I was about to take a nap, not gonna lie. However, I realized that I only posted the After the Pink Moon book review on TikTok. So here I am. I just posted on Instagram and I now set it to upload on YouTube. So it's gonna take a while for that to process on YouTube, and I just want to take a nap. It is my duty to make sure this gets processed and uploaded, and you would think that for like a small video or like a short video that it wouldn't take as long to process. Wrong, it still does. But I'm gonna pick this up for a little bit. I don't remember our main character's name, but we have recently found out that she is basically okay with being drunk. She essentially has a permanent hangover, and I tabbed a quote that was so interesting and I really had to share it with you guys. So, going through life hungover is an ordeal, but being without one is no picnic either. The fuzz and numbness of a hangover can carry you through a day without you noticing it too much. You're too busy tending to aches and thirst to pay much attention to anything else that might trouble you. So that was a very fascinating quote to me, because I feel like it really shows a lot of personality of our character, just because you can tell that she would much rather numb her pain than deal with it head on. And I think that's really important going into the rest of the story. It's not like there's anything like crazy that's being told, but it just feels like we're almost reading her inner monologue, and it's not normal. I don't even know how to describe it besides this being like her intrusive inner thoughts, and I'm in. It is the next morning, and to be honest, I didn't vlog anything else last night, partly because I ended up falling asleep very early. Felt like my body needed it. I was struggling with the heat yesterday. With that being said, that is the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next.